You are listening to the Beaverton, North America's trusted source of news.
This week on the Beaverton, Pierre Poilievre's Alberta by-election cost taxpayers $2.3 million, but he hopes to repay the money from sales of his new line of Joe Rogan-endorsed kettlebells. Israel won't send troops to invade Iran on account of the fact they're too busy invading every single other country in the region. And Alberta independence campaigners say they have these 177,000 signatures needed to force a referendum. They're just hoping nobody notices that 80,000 of those were signed by a F. Trudeau. That's right, it's time to make fun of the news once again on the Beaverton Weekly Report. Welcome to the show, everyone. So glad you're tuning in. I'm your host, Luke Gornfield. Joining me this week are two of our regular panelists, neither of whom won a Juno Award this week. It's Ian MacIntyre and Megan MacKay.
Recount. Recount.
I will get best reggae album one of these years.
Yeah, recount for Ian's reggae thing. Recount.
Reggae thing, yes. Also on the program, a special guest, an hilarious writer whose work has appeared in Cracked and the Beaverton, and whose incredibly viral tweets and skeets you have probably seen all over the internet, Janel Comeau, a.k.a. Very Bad Llama. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm inescapable.
Yes, you genuinely online, your tweets reach a level of like spread that it's like I know you a little bit through, you know, being internet friends and stuff, but like I would say every week I see someone sharing, and it's always, I don't know if this annoys you a lot, it's always a meme of your tweet. It's never the actual tweet. It's always a screenshot of your tweet. And I'm like, okay, this is just everywhere. So it's impressive. I have to ask where Very Bad Llama came as a name.
Oh my God. I had to make the account as a school assignment, and I picked, I know, back in, I'm not going to say what year that was. Well,
the fact that they had Twitter when you were in school tells me you're much younger than me and Ian, at least.
Christ.
It was from The Emperor's New Groove. I don't know. I was just fixated on that movie at that time. Yeah.
Good movie to be fixated on.
Agreed. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for being here. I want to dive right on in, as we always do, with the biggest news. And I want to, take a quick second to acknowledge the NDP on this program often gets kind of shunted into like the last news story or maybe a quick shout out at the end. Every once in a while, we throw in a joke in the quiz. We're leading with them this week. They've made it to the #1 spot. Big get for the NDP. They have elected a new leader who is, gasp, a socialist. Avi Lewis has won the NDP leadership race. He won on the very first ballot, and almost immediately, I don't even think I saw the news that he had won before I saw the backlash of what a radical, crazy person Avi Lewis is. Here's Avi Lewis on his campaign's promise.
Our NDP has a different offer for this country. Our plan is to Trump-proof the economy by investing massively in Canadian economic independence, using the unmatched power of public ownership to ensure the fundamentals of a good life.
What a lunatic.
He's holding a hammer and sickle while he said it.
Yes.
Do you guys think Lewis is too radical for Canadian politics in 2026?
I didn't hear him do a kickflip, so I think we're probably fine. I don't know. I don't know. That sounds very reasonable to me. I looked at the website. I never do research before the podcast. I did. It looks fine. He looks like he's a good guy. I think he's got his act together. It's good news.
Yeah, no, I think he's fine. I think he's aiming to be the Canadian Mamdani in that he has like half the policies and a fraction of the charisma. Well, the Canadian version, like the Family Feud Canada translation kind of thing.
Ooh, take that, Jerry D.
But yeah, he's nice, he's bland, he's technocratic, he's got real vice principal energy. I don't know. His policies only seem extreme because all of our major parties are drifting so far to the right now.
Yeah, it's got a real like 80s Thatcher Reagan vibe where it's like being right is where it's at, and then there's like Ed Broadbent over here being like, oh, that doesn't have to be. So yeah, there's definitely that vibe to him. I think he was like, it also feels to me like the media, and especially like the center right media, which is most of the media, being like, if we just say he's radical enough times, he'll be radical. It doesn't actually matter what he says. We can just repeat Candyman style, like he's radical, and then he appears as a radical. Like that's my guess is what the media is doing.
Yeah, I just don't. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think affordability is like a pretty good sell right now. Like if you're a person living in a bog with 6 roommates, you would definitely jump at the chance to live in a bog with only 5 roommates. That's a pretty good deal right now.
Where are you finding bogs that good?
I know. We have the best bogs.
That's the new Canadian dream. A bog with only 5 roommates.
An unrealistic socialist dream at this point, but
Yes.
something to aim for.
I mean, keep your commie opinions to yourself on this capitalist podcast,
But speaking of radical, though, I just want to know if Canada is ready for a former Much Music VJ party leader.
Was Avi Lewis a former Much Music VJ? I
Yeah,
did
man.
not know that.
He hosted the new music on Much Music back in like the 90s. And he was also
Wow.
their political correspondent. He covered like
That's the most 90s statement ever. Much Music's political correspondent.
yeah, he covered like the 93 federal election and the Quebec referendum alongside Master T in Speaker's Corner.
So he's got political experience, obviously.
Tons.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, Rick the Temp would make a great prime minister. We can all get on board.
What's Sugar from YTV doing these days?
Working more than you'd expect, actually. Yeah, she's
She
like down in
wanna
LA.
leave the
She
NDP.
works a ton. Yeah.
Little update. That's fun.
No, I
It
saw
doesn't
her,
always have to be jokes. Sometimes they can just be genuine updates on people we used to know.
I saw her show up in like the other two or something like that. And I just looked up her IMDb and I was like, damn, Sugar works a ton.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Because there was that one VJ for this is also not comedy. There was that one VJ from Much Music who left because she got cast in the pilot of The Big Bang Theory, and then she got replaced for the very famous actress whose name is escaping me right now.
It was Amanda Walsh. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
Amanda Walsh was the VJ, and then
Kaylee Cuoco.
Kaylee Cuoco.
Yeah.
took over the role, and obviously it was a pretty big hit. In case people were wondering, so that's good. That one's got to stay a little bit for Amanda Walsh. Amazingly, you remembered her name is impressive.
She, the show that I used to do, the Sketchersons show at Comedy Bar, she was our guest host one week.
Oh, cool.
And
Very
we all
good.
tried to not bring it up.
Well, you brought it up now, I guess.
Yeah, so
No, I did. That was on me.
I will say she was lovely and
That's fair.
hilarious.
Yeah.
but yeah.
No, I wish her nothing. She was also on Smallville for an episode. I remember
That
that.
is true. That is true.
Wish her nothing but the best. But didn't get that $1 billion role. Anyways, back to Canadian politics. To build on the point I think we were all touching on, which was that we're in a world where the two major parties are at best right and centrist, probably more likely, center right and far right, or close to far right, and then there's an even further right party who no one likes to talk about in the People's Party. On the left you have the Greens who are in shambles, and in Quebec, kind of the Bloc who are left on some issues, incredibly xenophobic right wing on other issues. And so there is a whole side of the political spectrum wide open for the NDP if they can get their shit together enough to take it and to be the champion of people. And so this seems like, as much as everyone is down on the NDP's fortunes and future, this seems like the best scenario for them in many years in terms of what could happen. Obviously right now they have 5 seats and things are not doing good, and everyone thinks Carney is, the second coming. He had Joni Mitchell endorsing him at the Junos and everyone loves Carney right now. I don't get it, but whatever. But from a purely political, let's say 40% of the country is some version of left wing, or 35% is some version of left wing. All those voters seem up for grabs to me if Carney keeps going to this kind of center right position. So why wouldn't the NDP be like, yeah, we're going to be a left wing party. We're not going to pretend otherwise. Seems like the most logical move in the world to make. But again, if you read the newspapers, it's like Avi Lewis is going to kill the NDP.
I think the affordability thing that you mentioned a minute ago, Janelle, is totally right now everyone's still in Trump freakout mode.
Yeah.
I think the NDP could kind of skate to where the puck is going. I say to maybe use a sports metaphor, right? I don't know.
No, you did.
Okay, hey, there it is.
good.
Yeah.
But I think a year or two from now, by the time we have another federal election, if Avi Lewis can get a seat, they'll be well positioned to be back to, hopefully everyone will be talking about affordability again, at least politically.
Yeah, well, especially if the economy keeps going the way it's going.
They're working on that too.
Yeah, it might be a combo of affordability and all of us are in a post-apocalyptic revolution state, and suddenly socialism doesn't seem so bad compared to, I don't know, neo-fascist desert storms.
So 8 people to a bog.
Yeah.
Seems like a nice round number. I like it. The bog could be big. We haven't said the bog is small. It could be a nice big bog.
Yeah, 3-story bog.
A nice 3-story bog.
Spacious.
Yes, exactly.
It's really more of a triplex. You
Yes.
know? We all have our own kitchens.
Nice.
Individual
It's a nice
barreled
bog.
fires that we cook over.
Yeah, kitchens.
The new Canadian dream. I love it.
I also wanted to get your guys' takes on, you know, the kind of, I don't know, irony is probably not the right term, but the absurdity of watching all these people with a very vested interest in the NDP not coming back to political life, talking about how the NDP is dooming themselves with Avi Lewis and making recommendations on who they should have gone with instead or who they should go for in advance of the vote. Your Andrew Coynes, your conservative advisors, et cetera. Like, do they think, are they actually trying to, you know, help the NDP, or are they just hoping the NDP will go with someone who is like, you know, in Jagmeet Singh styles, like just another basic liberal who everyone thinks is, oh, why would we vote NDP? They're just the liberals. Or are they genuine in believing that like Avi Lewis will doom the NDP? Okay. Don't everyone jump in at once.
Here's the thing. I think it's hard to say because I think the NDP, I hate to say it, has been politically irrelevant for so long at this point that I genuinely have a hard time figuring out temperature-wise where they fit into the mix, like in a way that affects anything.
That's fair.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, I understand. It's so when you're so down and out, and I know I was just positive a second ago, but when you're so down and out, it is very hard to imagine like the kind of last to first triumphant return of the NDP, even though it has happened before. The NDP has been reduced to very few seats before, not this bad, but very few seats before, and then came back to form the official opposition under Leighton. So like stranger things have happened, and I guess I'm being the positive one for the NDP. I want to be clear, I'm not a party member, I'm not an NDP party member, I'm not trying to be rah-rah, I just genuinely think there's opportunity here. But, you know, some people who were extremely negative on Lewis's selection were other NDP members who lead provincial NDP parties, specifically Naheed Nenshi in Alberta, who immediately like started floating the idea of like the parties formally, you know, separating, the Alberta NDP maybe even changing their name, you know, before Lewis had even done anything. So, you know, what was your reaction to that immediate attempt to distance the Alberta, and I think Saskatchewan did a very similar thing, immediate attempt to distance from the federal party?
Strikes me as really weird because when you think about the political horseshoe, like I think the further right the cons go, like the closer they're going to get to the NDP stuff that Avi Lewis is talking about in terms of like how it feels to hear it. You know what I mean? So
populism, basically.
Populism, exactly. So I don't know why you would want to move away from populism when populism seems to be the broader trend, but I'm not Naheed Nenshi. I can't he's unknowable to me as a man. He's completely unknowable to me, Luke. I don't know why you would ask me that question.
Is Naheed Nenshi knowable? Next question.
Why are you pestering Megan with all these questions about Naheed Nenshi?
I'm just trying to do my job here, man.
That is.
The number of Naheed Nenshi memes I've been sending Megan every night.
It's opaque. A lot of them don't make sense. They're like Dadaist like missives into the void, and I'm like, why are they coming to me?
Yeah, I've just clearly photoshopped him over like memes from the 2010s that don't apply to him at all.
Like Icon has cheeseburger, but it's Nenshi.
Icon has Nenshi, yeah.
It's confusing. It's confusing.
No,
That's all I'm saying.
I mean, I wasn't surprised as a Maritimer. I obviously grew up in Alberta. That's where East Coast childhoods take place.
Makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah, that's where it happens. I have to like put on hazmat gear to wade into my Facebook homepage.
Oh no!
But oh no! It's the oil and gas thing. I think in Alberta you could more reasonably propose that we hunt people for sport as a new industry, rather than like do anything to curtail oil and gas. So that's going to be a non-starter.
Danielle Smith's working on that, actually.
Yeah, well, that's...
Personally, she's just in her yard with a spear.
Yeah, it's off the books for now.
You have to beta test it. You make sure it works. Yeah.
You gotta get the
Alberta
signatures for the
tourism.
referendum on hunting people.
The West Edmonton Mall's fading. They've got to bring tourism back somehow.
Okay, that would be a good kill zone.
The West Edmonton Mall.
It's huge and sprawling and spooky.
Are we just coming up with a plan for hunting people now? Like, is this segued into a pitch meeting? All right, how do you guys feel about weapons? What are we going to use? Can't do guns. That's too obvious.
Way too obvious.
Yeah, I totally understand the reasoning, and I think you're totally right, Janelle, that it obviously comes from Lewis being the author of the Leap Manifesto and being very publicly associated with very aggressive climate change plans that involve the immediate phasing out of oil and gas, which of course in Alberta is going to be extremely difficult to pass. And I agree that Avi Lewis should not be leader of the Alberta NDP. But I don't see the part where you're just like, wow, this is crazy. We don't associate with them is like, I just think it's so disrespectful to voters to think that voters can't make a distinction between the federal party and the provincial party to such a degree that it would doom the Alberta or Saskatchewan NDP.
I think it's perfect. I think there's nothing more NDP than a bunch of party infighting, just messy public airing of grievances. I think this is how you know they're back.
Yeah, the NDP really is like the Labour Party in the UK, only if they never got power and just only focused on defeating each other. And it's just like, anyways. But you know, the interesting thing was like Wab Kinew, who's obviously an NDP premier of a pretty conservative province. Mm-hmm. You know, Manitoba's not Alberta or Saskatchewan, but it generally votes conservative in federal elections. And he's the most popular premier in Canada, according to a lot of polling. And he was right there being like, I don't agree with him on some stuff, but I'll work with him. I like that he's, energetic. I like that he's bringing people into the party. And where we disagree, we'll agree to disagree. And where we agree, we'll work together, and great. And I just feel like that's the obvious line to take. But immediately Nenshi was just like, no, get away, vampire, you can't come in. It was crazy. It was just giving so much ammunition to the Conservatives to immediately pounce on the situation and use it against him in a way that it's essentially like showing weakness. He's showing this is a thing I'm really worried about. Don't attack me here. So Danielle Smith is obviously like, well, let's attack him there. Mm-hmm. And I just think if he just came out with I don't agree with him on the oil and gas stuff, but I like that he's, championing affordability issues and we'll work together on that. I feel like that's the most clear, logical line to take. And for some reason, he was too scared, I guess, to take it.
It's unknowable. It's unknowable. We can't know it. We can't possibly know it. You're so obsessed with knowing this man.
I don't think I brought up Naheed Nenshi on this podcast once before.
Not on the podcast.
Icahn has oil and gas.
My favorite thing about this bit is that Naheed Nenshi is famously charismatic and personable and out there in public, and just like a happy guy who goes to comic book conventions and stuff.
We don't know.
Okay, you're right. No, I take it back. He's an enigma.
A political event horizon where all knowledge just goes to disappear.
Exactly.
Someone really needs to do an investigative report on just who is Naheed Nenshi, a man who's been in the public eye for at least a decade.
Not me.
Oh, way
Stop
more than
asking.
That.
I'm busy.
I will say, talking about trying to be Mamdani, if anyone wants to, you got to go watch the video he put out on socials a couple days ago, where it's him trying to do a Mamdani style, a lot of quick cuts, talking to the camera, jumping around. But it's him.
This is Naheed Nenshi, right?
This is Naheed Nenshi.
Okay.
But it's him, and he's walking, and they're shooting him from the side, which is already a very awkward thing, just not at all a good look. And I say this as a heavier set guy. You don't want a 3/4 angle on that. Straight on is the angle you want. But anyways, there's that. He's got one hand kind of moving about, and then one hand just jammed into his pocket. So he's stiffly walking and talking. And I'm like, man, I think you got bigger problems than who the federal party just elected. If this is your communication style, I'm sure he's a nice guy, but it was the most awkward video. And I'm like, how? It's one thing to shoot it, but why would you put this out? You should look at that and immediately go delete that footage and let's start again. But anyways, if someone wants to, you can go and look at that and just see why maybe Nenshi's struggling to connect with voters in Alberta right now on a personal level. The last question I want to ask about the NDP before we change topics is if you guys put yourselves in the shoes of Lewis's advisors, how do you think Lewis can win back all these left-leaning voters who are out there but are voting Liberal either because they think there's no other choice or because, as you said before, they're terrified of Trump and think Carney's going to stand up to Trump? How do you win back the left-leaning voters?
There's a miasma of a horniness around Carney right now. I kind of think you have to.
I don't like that. I don't like it.
Well, it's here. We all have to sit in this miasma together.
Miasma of horniness is the title of the episode.
Yeah, there we go. Finally,
without any connection to anything.
I'm going to redo the graphic later, Luke.
I think he needs to maybe play the game that Pierre Poilievre is playing and wait a little bit, because I do think it's going to go away.
Yeah.
And then he also needs to play the game that Pierre Poilievre and I are both playing, which is the opposite of it, which is to not be embarrassing on a podcast. Like, he needs to not do that part. Leave that part to me and Mr. PP. We got that covered. Don't go on podcasts and be normal and wait.
Oh, see, that's interesting because, like, I think he's going to have so much time, and I guarantee you he's going to go on a lot of podcasts.
Well, give him a call. See if we got seats.
That's true.
We got seats.
Hey, man, you want to come make fun of the other MPs and politicians? We swear we won't make fun of you.
I do really worry about Lewis's ability to connect with the kind of voters that the NDP is shedding right now. Because, like, nothing says blue collar like a Toronto-born filmmaker, and not the fun kind of filmmaker, a documentary filmmaker. Like, I don't know. I see him talk, and I'm like, you're a very smart guy, but nothing about you to me screams like engaging, exciting leftist politics.
Yep.
I don't know. I just worry. I worry that he doesn't have the, what do the kids say? The riz. I don't know.
He's
That's the oldest
He's
sentence you've ever
Rizless.
said.
Yeah, I'll get older. No, I'll absolutely get older.
Yeah, that is how time works.
It just, I don't know. I worry about his ability to get back those voters.
That's fair.
What if he crosses the floor?
Oh my God, Janelle, you're a genius.
Let her cook.
Yes, I'm stepping back. That's the play.
I think that's the play now. Crossover, recruit, cross back.
Yes.
Just full on Churchill it for no reason at all.
Yeah, no reason at all.
It's like a Black Ops, like recon, like rescue mission. You're
4D
just sort of,
chess Canadian politics.
yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh, he's going to get the Nunavut MP back? He's going to go back there and bust her out of the Liberal Party?
I mean, she did endorse him mere seconds before crossing the floor, so it kind of works.
It's a mixed message.
Yeah, it was
Those
very
were
confusing
strange.
that she did that, but you know, I think everyone just kind of was like, "Well, she's got to represent Nunavut. Let's move on." Like we're never talking about unknowable. Like the person who's like, "I'm going to endorse the lefty politician," and then immediately cross the floor to centrist daddy banker. I don't know.
I think I could get a beat on her.
Okay, sure. All right. Well, talking about no, I have no segue.
Good. Immediate bail. Good.
Oh, here it is. Talking about people fucking up in a speech, like I just did. The Air Canada CEO. This was a story that broke, and I kind of initially just dismissed it as like, oh, who cares? But it had real world consequences, so we got to talk about it. So obviously, last week, as you know, shortly before we recorded, there was that tragic accident in LaGuardia at LaGuardia Airport, where due to air traffic control error, it appears, a truck was sent onto the runway of an Air Canada plane that was landing. There was a collision, and 2 Air Canada pilots lost their lives, and a lot of other people were hurt. The Air Canada pilots were francophones, a fact that became quite relevant when the Air Canada CEO, Michael Russo, and again, Air Canada being a company based in Montreal, delivered a statement entirely in English mourning their deaths. Here's Michael Russo.
Hello, bonjour. I'm Michael Russo, President and CEO of Air Canada. Today is a very somber day at Air Canada. I'm here to provide information on an accident that occurred involving an Air Canada Express aircraft.
So he's not great in English either.
Yeah, I want to hear so much more public speaking from that scintillating statesman.
I've always thought it's incredible that CEOs can speak one language, let alone 2. So
I hope he's really good at making money.
For himself, for sure. For an airline up in the debate. But yeah, like I mean, he must be on one-on-one. He must be better because he's
got a
up
great
ranks.
personality.
That's what I'm saying. Like he's been hired. He must have done job interviews. There's no way he was in a job interview being like, my greatest weakness is I work too much. Like he can't have been doing that. So, okay. So putting aside the fact that he's clearly not a effective public communicator and was speaking in a very halted way, even in English, as you got a sense from that, he said one word in French in that, bonjour. I think he said one more word later on. And again, and he was talking to he was speaking in a Francophone province. He was speaking about Francophones lost their lives, and he has lived in Quebec for many, many years. And, you know, it's pretty crazy he couldn't manage even just a few words. Like, have someone holding up cards spelling it out phonetically. Like, I don't speak French, but I could get by enough to, like, deliver a sentence or two.
Or couldn't it have been one of those things where they just dubbed him over in French?
Sure.
Where, like, he's talking and they're like, je peux pas. I also am bad at French.
Oh,
Well,
no.
I guess I know what the Quebec National Assembly is voting on next week.
I don't live in Quebec, so it's okay. And all I do is Duolingo, which, as we know, teaches you nothing.
If that is where you're at, yeah, you can quit Duolingo.
But for real, like, for something that important, couldn't they have just had someone do that? That's all I'm saying. And sorry, Janelle.
I do like that he hit the hello bonjour. It's like, that's a man who spends a lot of time in Canadian airports. Like, he got that hello bonjour.
Yeah, that's a guy who's ordered food at Montreal fast food places. Hello,
you need to
bonjour,
know.
hi. Yeah.
Well, speaking of, though, like, I was looking him up and I forgot about this thing 5 years ago where he gave a speech at the Palais de Congrès in Quebec. He gave the whole speech in English. This is in 2021, and then got raked over the coals for it, and specifically said, today I am committed to improving my French, an official language of Canada and language used in Quebec. Exact quote.
Yeah, and
he said it in English, too, just to clarify.
100%. And when they were trying to tamp down the controversy that this caused, which it really did cause, as I joked before, like the National Assembly had it voted on an emergency motion calling on him to resign before he did, like, because they were so outraged by this. Like, this was a very big story in Quebec. They talked about how he spent hundreds of hours learning French, which
Is he also doing Duolingo?
Yeah, I mean, yes.
That owl is furious with him. Threats every day.
Yeah. So, I mean, I feel like if he actually was, they would have they were so desperate for some evidence that he was trying, they would have brought that up. They were like, look, he's got an 80-day streak. No, he hasn't been. Like, that's just got to have been a lie. There's no way you can't manage a sentence when you have been doing hundreds of hours of, like, unless you are the most, you know, like, I know everyone's brains is like the most terrible at language development. You have a brain that just cannot process new languages. And I understand learning a new language is extremely hard when you are in your 60s, 70s. Like, even after like 20, it becomes almost impossible. I understand all that. But, like, we're not talking about being fluent in French. We're talking about being able to say a sentence or two with a lot of time to prepare. Because, I mean, I know he put out that statement shortly thereafter the crowd, but, like, he had hours to work on that statement and couldn't manage more than bonjour. And he didn't even say bonjour pretty much. He pronounced the R pretty hard, which is not how.
Hard R means something.
Well, I know. But we're not talking about that hard R. We're talking about how in French you don't pronounce the last letter of the word for the most part. Anyways, so this became obviously a huge controversy. You know, before we, I guess, talk about the immediate reaction, like, should we be able to expect that, like, you know, CEOs of the major Canadian companies speak French?
I don't think it's a bad idea, but I don't know how you would enforce it, you know? Because they'd be
Public
like,
shame.
yeah, I got it. I got the app. What did you?
What was
Public
that?
shame.
Public shame.
Public
for sure.
shame, yeah, actually.
I mean,
that's
this might have done it just now. Every CEO is like, oh, shit.
Yeah, could work. Could work.
Like,
Yeah.
after the healthcare CEO in the US got shot, everybody was starting approving healthcare claims. Now they're all in Duolingo. Like, oh, shit.
Yeah, the Quebecois Luigi Mangione is coming for him.
Oh, they've been learning Spanish by accident the whole time.
It feels weird to me to enforce that on a private corporation, though.
Yeah, I mean, I guess when I say major, I'm referring to ones that receive significant government support, the way
Okay,
Air
that's-
Canada does.
yeah,
Like,
no, that's
it's
true.
obviously not a Crown Corp. It was spun off. It's private. I think the government has relinquished all its shares. It bought some back during COVID, but I think they've given those up. So the government doesn't own Air Canada the way it used to.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, there's a huge amount of, I don't know what they're called. Like, you know, like they throw them a lot of money, like between like tax stuff and anytime they're, you know, in any kind of trouble, they get bailed out, et cetera, et cetera. So, like, it's not just like some company, right? It's like it's synonymous with it's synonymous with as the Canadian airline.
Yeah.
So there's a certain level of like public ownership here, even though technically there isn't, I guess. So it's more than just like, you know, some mom and pop store or some random company that makes, you know, whatever the hell. So that I guess makes it a little bit different. And of course, the fact that they were based in Quebec. And so he would have been there and had been there for years and years and years. It's just not trying. Which I guess just like reflects the fact that when you're that level of rich, you don't really live in the world. You just live in a rich guy bubble until the world not crashes through your front door because they find out you can't speak French. But like you know, because his life was like, technically he's in Quebec, but really he's just in boardrooms and fancy hotels and his, I'm sure, beautiful house in Westmount or whatever. And he just never needed to worry about it, even though obviously this had already been an issue when he gave a speech at the assembly. But yeah, I understand that it's like it's you know. There's no way you could pass a law to that effect, and it would be absurd to do it because you'd be, you know, limiting the quality of CEOs companies can hire. But it's going to be a thing where if this keeps happening, like, you know, this is going to keep being an issue in Quebec. It's not going to go away now because like, oh, we got rid of one guy, so all the rest get a pass. Like, it's just never going to. So yeah, I mean, you know, so again, this was before he resigned, he was immediately called to testify in Ottawa. Carney commented on it. Obviously, the Bloc commented on it. As I said,
of course, Carney commented on it because he's had to learn French and he clearly resents it.
Yeah,
he's like, if I have to do it, motherfucker, so do you.
Yeah, that's a very good point. That he's like, I did the work. You fucking do the work. I'm busier than you. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a very good point. And then he, you know, as I said, the National Assembly, which is the name of the legislature in Quebec, unanimously passed a motion calling on him to resign, which he eventually did. You know, was this an overreaction, or is this just kind of like this is how Quebec is, and if you want to have a company based in Quebec, this is the stuff you have to at least have to deal with. You don't necessarily have to resign, but you got to expect that people are going to get really mad about this kind of thing.
Elon Musk is really upset about it, so I'm for it.
He's really upset that the guy resigned, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And Quebec language law in general. He's been on like a full day crash out about Quebec language laws, so I'm for it.
Yeah,
right. Wait, didn't he go to school in Montreal?
Yeah.
No, he went.
No.
He went to Queens.
He went to Queens. Oh, my bad. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, you're right. Like, he even posted something of Grok. He was like, Grok, are Quebec's language laws bad? And Grok was like, yes, they are, Elon. Also, I'm Hitler, I guess. But yeah. So that's his proof.
Yeah. I mean, this has broken containment a little bit. Like, Americans have picked up on this story. And anytime Americans...
And weird South Africans.
Yeah. So anytime Americans and weird South Africans learn a little bit about Quebec, it's always like, oh, fuck, we got to explain this whole fucking thing. They're not going to understand. They're just not going to understand.
How much time do you have?
Yeah.
Okay.
My only ever viral tweet, nothing compared to you, Janel, but my only ever viral tweet was like a joke about how like Americans, about the idea of Americans kind of taking over Canada, and like if Americans had to deal with Quebec politics, their faces would melt like when the Nazis saw the Ark in Raiders of the Lost Ark, and like it's like that's just like the American worldview and the Quebec worldview are so anathema to each other. It's like it's just like it's translating like Finnish to to Spanish. Like there's no shared letters, there's no shared basis. It's just two different worlds, and there's no way for them to figure each other out.
I do love it when they try, though. Like the American right wing has really latched onto the Bloc in a lot of ways, where they're all about the nationalism, but they're gonna find out eventually that like if the Bloc had their way, abortion would be legal until the kid can fight back, and that's not what they're like all about. They're in for a shock.
Pull quote for the episode, for sure.
Yeah, I'm just trying to imagine like an American Republican being like, you know, we should have church prayer in schools. Like,
no.
And Francophone just being like, I'll kill you and hang your body from one of the 800,000 churches we have in our province.
Look, we are racist, but a different kind of racist.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, it's just two sides of somehow, again, to your horseshoe point earlier, Megan, it's like they're so different, and then on certain things they meet in the middle, and that certain thing is we hate Muslims and brown people, which is not good, but it's hilarious to think, oh, we hate Muslims and brown people. I get we also agree on other issues. And it's like, no. Don't you hate big government? Ah, fuck you.
I did think it was funny. I saw online Mary Gillis, editor for the Beaverton, made the point that she's like, it's insane that this guy's getting so much more flack for not speaking French than he was for that time he tried to force flight attendants to continue to work for free before and after their shifts.
Yeah.
There's so many things that Michael Rousseau has done as Air Canada CEO that suck balls, and like huge controversies and stuff like that. And he's never once had to or been asked to step down. And then it turns out he can't speak French, and like Quebec comes for him.
Yeah. Yeah, because the statement saying that they had to work, through a strike was in both languages, so it was fine.
I think the real question is like, does Air Canada move on from this by hiring Celine Dion back?
Hey!
Yes. Incredible. Please. As CEO even. Why not?
Hello.
She's been promoted.
Well, a quick talk about this is a weird sentence to say, but like a kind of too quiet week with the Iranian war, where
We've really settled into a good groove with it.
well, I just mean like it's like everyone's waiting for the next thing to happen, which is troops on the ground, and we all kind of think it's going to happen, but it hasn't happened yet. As of recording this on Tuesday evening, he's checking
Nervously
his phone.
check my phone. Yes.
I mean, I think everyone understands. Sometimes you record a podcast, and before you put it out, a war happens, and that's just how things go. But yeah, so we're Trump continuing to, the latest update is Trump continuing to search for a way to open the Strait of Hormuz before the global economy crisis, which, according to a lot of people, he's already too late because already, the resources that needed to get to Asia to make all the stuff that keeps the economy afloat didn't get there. And so we're now in the, space where the bad things already happened. We just haven't felt the aftershocks yet.
It's like
the tremors.
That moment in Deep Impact, the movie, where like the tide goes out.
Yes.
In a weird way before the tidal wave comes in.
Yes. So we might be living in that moment. Who knows? There's other people who say otherwise, but that's some economists' opinion, excuse me. And so, now the aim of the war seems to be opening the Strait of Hormuz. The strait was open before the war.
Yeah, like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah. Like, I'm trying to think, has there ever been a war where the point of the war so quickly became undoing the consequence of starting the war? Like, has that ever happened before in history where it's just like we start a war and then immediately our goal just becomes, but let's not do that thing that you did because of the war? That doesn't seem like familiar to me.
It's like a war version of the little birthday boy at the bar who like decides he's gonna be tough and pick a fight, and then as soon as the guy's like, "Okay, let's fight," he goes, "It's my birthday. I'm just a little birthday boy." That is a tweet. That is a tweet. But that's the energy that it carries. It's like, you started this and you don't know how to finish it, and you have to now. You have to now.
Yeah.
But we're just waiting for you to finish it at this point.
To carry on the analogy, it's like in that scenario, but like you've already hit the guy a couple times,
Yes.
and now it's like, "I'm just a little birthday boy," and the guy's like, "Well, you hit me, so I'm fighting you."
Yes.
And then you start looking at all your British and Canadian friends to be like, beat that guy up for my birthday. And we're like, man, we didn't even want to come here. Applebee's sucks.
We got nachos coming, dude. We're gonna chill out over here. Yeah, I mean, so if the U.S. does put boots on the ground, I mean, at that point, is there any way out for Trump, or are we just it's Iraq, if it's Afghanistan, it's a long-standing conflict? Like, because once you put boots on the ground and inevitably some of those soldiers get killed, and that justifies sending more soldiers, and then we were texting about this, Ian, like then your McNamara fog of war of you're making decisions, you're putting more in because of the losses you've already suffered, and then they suffer losses, so you put more in.
First of all, that was not the context that we brought up McNamara. I mentioned McNamara because you were texting me about how exhausting your kid's birthday party was.
Yes.
And I said you sounded like McNamara at the end of Fog of War.
Well, I do want to be clear. My 8-year-old's birthday party included a Nerf gun fight, which I thought was going to be, okay, there's like 15 kids. Okay, like 7 kids over here, 8 kids over here. You guys fight each other. And what my son decreed and all his friends agreed with was, no, everyone just shoot my dad. And so there was a moment where I'm just sitting on a couch and I just hear from the other room, attack. And then 15 7 and 8-year-olds charged me with Nerf guns, and some of them shoot real hard, and they just beat the crap out of me with Nerf guns and then jumped on me for 10 minutes and then went up and had some cake. And so I was just sitting there being like, I wasn't so much McNamara, I was more like Kurtz in Apocalypse Now, being like, I've seen things. The horror. Yeah.
So they put boots on the ground in your rec room.
Yeah,
Got it.
Yeah. I mean, it's Canada. We had them take their shoes off when they got to the house, but still.
Snow boots on the ground.
Yeah. Snow boots neatly arranged in the foyer. Jackets in the closet. Anyways, yeah. So it's so interesting how we always get the goofiest about the worst subjects. We're talking about fucking potential World War III.
It's a real flaw in the design of this podcast. And our credibility.
Yeah. So I don't know. I guess is there a way out? I mean, if he puts boots on the ground, is there a way out other than just, I guess, a decisive victory for the U.S. over Iran, which seems very unlikely, but.
Oh, that won't happen at all.
Yeah, no, that's not.
No. He had a quote today where he's now getting mad at all the other countries. He True Socialed like, Iran has been essentially decimated. The hard part is done. Go get your own oil. Like to all the other, because he's trying to be like, the U.S. doesn't use any oil from the Strait of Hormuz. It's all y'all's problem now.
Yeah, we only just use all the products that is made from the energy that passes through the Strait of Hormuz. This won't affect us at all.
I mean, it could happen. It could happen. If before boots on the ground hit, it could happen.
Yeah,
and maybe
something
it's
else
like,
could hit the ground.
Look, man, our bad. Like, this guy was fucking nuts. We got a new guy now. He's also crazy, but he don't want any of this, so let's move on.
Yeah,
You know?
I mean, J.D. Vance has been not so subtly trying to distance himself from the war.
Yeah.
And he obviously can't distance himself from Trump too much to set up the inevitable presidential run, but he's definitely trying to distance himself from the war so that when he runs and everyone's like, fuck, that war was terrible, he's like, well, that was Rubio.
It's always Rubio these days.
It's always Rubio.
Who fucked that couch? Marco Rubio?
God.
Who killed that Pope? Rubio. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I don't think you get to choose another kind of war in the Middle East other than like long-term war. I don't think this is not a Tim Hortons. You can choose your side. I want a little war, a medium war. No, it's just forever war.
Yeah, that does seem to be the only variety available in the Middle East. Yeah, you need kind of like Grenada for if you want a quick one. You need to.
As
People keep saying he for sure thought this was going to be Venezuela too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Like,
yeah.
we blow up a guy in charge or kidnap him or what have you, and then I moonwalk home and my approval goes up marginally and I make a bunch of money on the back end. Yeah.
Yeah, which, I mean, an understandable thought, but then he succeeded too much because as soon as you kill the guy, kidnapping the guy when you already clearly have some kind of backroom deal in place with his number two, as they had in Venezuela, different situation than I'm going to kill the guy and hope whoever's in charge, oh shit, it's his son? Fuck. Oh, his son's real mad that I killed his dad and his wife, an underreported part of that story?
And kid.
Yeah.
Oh,
Shit.
my God.
I didn't think he was like an adult son, but still.
That's fine. That's fine.
If they're adults, it's okay. It's a crazy thing.
You've taken some hard stances. I don't know what you're going to get canceled for. If you kill an adult son, it's not a crime.
It's called Double Jeopardy. It's fine.
Yeah, and then adding to the mix of all this is, as I talked about on the top, and don't get me wrong, they have run this playbook before, but Israel, who is obviously the ones pushing for the war, has said, we are not putting troops in if you go. Which is just such a Lucy with the football, go kick it, Charlie Brown, yoink. I won't do it this time, yoink. Because, they did the same thing in Iraq. Netanyahu testified in front of Congress talking about, I don't think he was prime minister then, but he testified in front of Congress talking
just
about
a guy that they invited.
Yeah, just a guy with a strong Philadelphia accent. Testified in front of Congress about how he actually, I'm not making fun of his accent. He has an actual Philadelphia accent when he speaks English because he grew up in Philadelphia. But that wasn't a joke about the Israeli accent, to be clear. Don't kill me. But anyways, so he was, he testified in front of Congress talking about how much removing Saddam Hussein and the Iraq war will be a boon to the region and how great it will be, welcome as liberators, all that bullshit that all turned out to be completely untrue. And then Israel didn't send in troops. And so now they're doing the same thing again where they push for the war, and are now not sending in troops and just kind of leaving the U.S. high and dry. And as I also alluded to, probably the reason they're doing that is because they have troops everywhere else. They have announced that they are planning to permanently occupy and ethnically cleanse southern Lebanon, which would affect 1.2 million people. That's even worse than the Nakba in the 1940s. They've also passed a law announcing that the death penalty will only be applied to Palestinians in the West Bank, not Israelis, because Palestinians are tried by military courts, which has the death penalty, and Israelis are tried by civilian courts, which does not. So they celebrated that. Ben-Gvir, the infamous at this point Israeli minister, celebrated that in Parliament with a champagne toast while wearing a noose lapel pin, along with a bunch of ministers from Israel celebrating how great that is. And they have at the same time committed atrocity after atrocity in the West Bank, including attacking and assaulting a CNN camera crew who filmed the whole thing, which is the only reason that got any reaction is because it was filmed and went on CNN. They've also committed many atrocities against Palestinians that have not been reported widely because it wasn't filmed, it wasn't on CNN. I want to be, fair to Israel in the sense that there are many people who are opposing this. I'm not trying to, paint too broad a brush here. There's a great group called Standing Together that is leading protests against all these actions, especially the war in Iran. So, are we just in finally Israel's are we the baddies moment? I don't know how else to describe this at this point. It just seems like every day there is a new story of Israel doing horrific things. And it just never seems to end. And I don't know how it could possibly end other than further radicalization. But,
I do think that they are baking into the calculus right now, because we keep talking about going forward, what is the U.S. attitude going to be towards Israel and the aid that they give them and stuff like young voters are starting to become opposed to this. I think Israel is well aware of that. And I think they are planning for a post we get all this support kind of era. I think they're in a real how much can we trick this senior citizen into destroying Iran for us before we are kind of on our own in that region.
I don't disagree, but that is a bold strategy.
I didn't say it was a good one.
Because, I think you might be right, but I can't imagine any rational actor, which for all his faults, I do think Netanyahu is rational. I don't think he's a good person. I think he's horrible, but I think he has his own thought process. He's not like Trump. He's not, just out to lunch all the time being the greatest strategy is just make 1 million enemies and then just hope when the U.S. leaves, we can just nuke them all. I don't know what this, I don't know what step 2 is there.
There is, threaten to nuke them all is step 2.
Yeah. With that nuclear weapon they don't acknowledge. Yeah.
I think step 2 is Netanyahu goes to prison on outstanding corruption charges, I believe it is. So I don't think there's a step 2. I think it's just war forever until somebody dies.
Yeah.
Trump, Netanyahu, whoever wins or loses is going to jail. So
the
idea is to die mid-war.
That's how you win.
That's how you win. That's the victory condition.
Guys, war seems bad. You either die or you lose and go to jail. Why would you do a war? There's no reason. It doesn't make sense.
Well, I think to Janel's point that, and maybe it's not widely known, is he's facing these what seem to be very legitimate corruption charges, and essentially, and again, Israeli judicial system, as long as the war is going on, his trial keeps getting pushed back. And so he's not going to face any consequences as long as the war is going on. So that plus, obviously he's a militant, I want to see a greater Israel, I want to expand the borders of Israel believer, that and his desire to not go to jail, which I'm cynical enough to think that, at this point, given this new law that just passed and everything else, I don't think he would actually be convicted, just because I think I don't have any faith in the Israeli judicial system.
Well, it's like you said too, Ben-Gvir, he's had to make a coalition with the furthest right people in that country just to stay in power. Netanyahu keeps losing election after election, but he just forms a coalition government with increasingly radical groups and manages to stay in power.
Yeah, Israel has dozens of political parties. No party comes even remotely close to obtaining a majority. But again, as much as I appreciate the efforts of Standing Together and other groups to show that this isn't all Israelis, if you look at the polls right now, if an election happened, that coalition would be in power still.
Right.
So it's not like this is a thing where this party, is just trying to drag this out because they're going to be out of power as soon as the war is over. According to the polls, at least the ones I've seen, they would still be in power, and whoever replaces Netanyahu might actually be worse, which is an impossible sentence to say, but seems actually real. So that's, I mean, so, I know I'm asking you guys to speculate about what the hell is happening here other than just this is horrible and I don't know what to say about it, which is sort of where I'm at. So I'm sorry for not, for taking us down this road, but it feels like one of those things where it's like, this just can't, this is reaching a breaking point of either, there needs to be a massive change with Israeli policy or this war is just going to spiral even further out of control. And I don't know where we're at with that.
Or we get Netanyahu on a really embarrassing podcast. We get him on a Rogan, and then there's no way those numbers are recovering, baby.
Oh, what was the one that he did last year? The Nelk Boys or whatever it was?
Yes, he did do the Nelk Boys.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
We already tried podcast.
We've already tried podcast.
No.
You know what's crazy about that is he did the Nelk Boys and they apologized for it. Like somehow, you know what I mean? Because I think what happened was they were so unprepared. They're just idiots who had a prank YouTube channel and now suddenly interview world leaders. And I get it. We're expecting too much, but they were just they would just ask him a question about Gaza especially, and he would just be like, "No, it's not true. We haven't killed civilians. That's all lies, and it's just Palestinian propaganda and blah blah blah, Hamas propaganda and blah blah." And they were like, "Oh, interesting," and then they just moved on, and there was no pushback of "Well, here are the facts."
Makes Joe Rogan look like Edward R. Murrow.
100%, because at least Joe Rogan would be like, as we said last week when we talked about playoff, he has his things that he does know a lot about. So when he talks about those, these guys were just blank canvases being like, so you say Israel good, Hamas bad? Cool. Israel good, Hamas bad.
I mean, in fairness, Hamas is not great.
No, I'm agreeing that Hamas is bad, but I think the analysis can be a little more sophisticated.
Yeah.
This is not me being all right, we're going to say way hard to do Hamas good? Hamas good? No.
Wait. Rewind that back. Let's not. Hold on.
I think this is just Ian trying to get me canceled before he gets canceled.
I'm dragging you all down with me.
Well, before we move into our big finish, a quick message to you, the listener. First of all, thanks for checking out the show. If you haven't already, be so kind, jump on your app of choice, leave 5 stars, leave a review. It really, really, really does help us move up in the charts, get more eyeballs on us, because we want to grow this thing to be the biggest and best thing it can be. You can also help us by sharing some of our video clips that we share on social media, any of our social media channels. You can tell a friend. You can, encourage people to listen. And all of it helps so much, and we really, really appreciate it. If you want to support us monetarily, you can do so at patreon.com/thebeaverton. Not only will you be keeping this podcast going, keeping our website alive, you will also get an extended version of this episode every week where we talk about a story or stories we didn't get a chance to cover on the rest of the episode. This week we dove into Tim Houston's attempt to get his budget passed in Nova Scotia. Ian and Janel are both from Nova Scotia, and they provided some very hilarious home perspective on the whole thing, and things got a little bit off the rails, as they often are inclined to on the Patreon section.
Megan disagrees. Totally on the rails.
The Patreon sections are most serious. Everyone agrees. And Ian, I think you have a few shout-outs to do.
Oh, my God. So we got a lot of comments last week after our Joe Rogan episode.
Yeah.
Guys on the internet had a real normal one about it. One guy named David Polo said, Dungeons and Dragons take on politics. I don't know if that's good or bad.
He definitely meant it as an insult, but I'll take it.
Whatever.
I'm totally fine with that.
PJ Mara was a little more direct. He said, I bet those dudes sit down when they pee.
That's the oldest, hackiest street joke, calling someone a loser. Jesus Christ. Get some new material.
Don't we all sit down when we pee so we can just stare at our phones? That's society now. Anyway, Stephen Henson said, speaking of oldest, hackest, holy soy-injected meatloaf, Batman. There's dangerous levels of estrogen emitting from that room. Robin, prepare the bat-tosterone spray.
The what? Bat-tosterone.
Yeah.
Spray. Okay, sorry, I wanted to make sure I heard. That joke sucked.
So 60s Batman jokes apparently still viable.
Blows.
On Patreon, though, where the discourse is much nicer, Joseph Hillerup was saying, regarding no one talking about the massive Carney funding cuts, we really need some sort of new party for democracy in this country, although I'm not sure what we would call it. Yes, that's good.
Good comment.
Anyway, speaking of our Patreon supporters, some new supporters on there, I just want to send a shout-out thanks to Sammy, who sent us a nice message, Corinne, Mike, and unfuckable adult nephew.
Yeah.
And some of our OG Patreon supporters, we got Kelly Johnson, Chelsea Young, Gene Caswell, and Roger Thompson. Thank you all very much for your support. It means a lot.
Thank you, supporters, and not commentators. And now it is time for the approximately 10-minute long quiz.
It's the approximately 10-minute long quiz. brought to you by Time.
Every week, Ask the Panel to play the approximately 10-minute long quiz where we put their knowledge of some less widely reported news stories to the test. Panel, your first question. A 59-year-old Dutch politician who was recently elected to town council was outed for using an AI image as her campaign photo. What excuse do you think she gave after being caught?
Fine, I don't actually have 15 fingers. You got me.
I think she was distracted because she was embroiled in an affair with that banana on TikTok that keeps fucking everybody raw. Are you guys aware of?
I am not aware of the fucking banana.
This is the AI Fruit Love Island thing, right?
Yes.
Okay.
He keeps getting other fruits pregnant. Oh, yeah, so it's maybe she was busy with that, or I don't know. It's just a thought. She's also kind of unknowable to me, but like less unknowable. So I'm just the thought anyway.
I think she just slipped and fell on her phone. Like, you know, sometimes you slip, you fall, you open ChatGPT, you type a full prompt, post it to the internet.
Very accurate. We've all been there.
Slip, fall, run a complete campaign for me for public office, please.
It happens to the best of us.
I can't tell you how many times this happened to me. Does anyone know the real answer?
I'm going with Megan.
Yeah. This is an obscure one. I know. She said the image had a low resolution, so she needed to improve it in order to include it on like campaign material because like the file size was too small or whatever. Despite the fact that the image bore almost no resemblance to her, and as I mentioned, she's in her late 50s, and the image appeared to be of someone who was maybe 22. So she went hard into clearly like just created a new person. Like there is no resemblance to her in any way other than it's making a similar facial pose. She also said she looked young for her age, which like maybe I'm not shaming anyone, but when you're 59 and you go with a 22-year-old as your prompt, it's like there's limits to how young you can look for your age.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay, I looked it up.
You just looked it up.
Guys, this is nuts.
Oh my God, she's so yassified, queen.
Janelle, I'm sorry. We'll email this to you later. It's insane.
We'll also email it to all of you listeners. We'll get an email with no explanation, just a photo.
The pictures.
Just the pictures of this woman side by
of
side.
a Dutch politician, yes.
I kind of want to vote for her. I don't.
Hey, what are her policies?
Great.
Yeah.
I don't even care. She looks amazing.
All right, next question. No points on that one. What employment-related questions at a parliamentary committee landed floor-crossing Liberal MP Michael Comeau in hot water this week?
He asked Avi Lewis what kind of sign-up perks the NDP are offering.
He's just trying to get a ticket punched in all the parties.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. The block will be slightly awkward, but he can pull it off.
Yep.
I thought he maybe tied somebody to a chair underneath like one swinging light bulb. Like started punching them in the face and saying, "Who do you work for?"
Michael Comeau's the bad cop?
Yeah, I seen it in a movie once, so maybe that. I don't know. These are all kind of just ideas for you guys to consider just in the quiz part. So
It's just a thing for Michael Comeau to do.
Yeah.
It's a suggestion. They wanted to know if it was legal to pay temporary foreign workers in Canadian Tire money.
Oh, that makes me think. By the way, have you guys seen this? Like, I've seen this has popped up on my YouTube. Like the ads. This has been a commercial I've seen on YouTube so many times. It is a woman checking out at Canadian Tire's Auto Center, and she is informed that she can pay with Canadian Tire dollars, and she is shocked. Where else would you be able to pay with Canadian Tire dollars than Canadian Tire? Why are you delightfully surprised you can use Canadian Tire dollars at Canadian Tire? This is a real ad. I swear to God, this exists.
you're so mad.
It boggles the mind. So she just thought Canadian Tire dollars were a fancy way of saying, fuck you, get out of here. And she's delighted to be told that she can use these worthless Canadian Tire dollars at a Canadian Tire.
I love the Canadian Tire money. It's for such small denominations. It feels like a devalued currency from a third world country.
It feels like a Canadian Tire lira. Yeah.
Yeah, like you'd have a suitcase full of them to buy like one spark plug.
Yeah. The Canadian Tire Weimar Republic. Yeah.
What is that? The Zimbabwean Canadian dollar.
Exactly, yes.
But specifically Canadian Tire. If Luke sees somebody using this at Superstore, he's gonna end up on the news.
Yeah. Look, I would love it if you could use Canadian Tire dollars everywhere, but why are you surprised that you can use them at Canadian Tire?
So crazy.
Why is that an ad that people paid money to film?
I have a front row seat to male rage right now. It's really brutal.
Men are in crisis, Megan.
Yeah, they are.
This is
They are.
the epidemic of male loneliness and Canadian Tire ads that make no goddamn sense. Wow. Does anyone know the real answer about Michael Ma?
No.
No.
No? No,
I'm
really?
too scared to say it now. Go ahead. What is it?
Do you know the real
No.
answer? Okay. He, at a parliamentary committee, he was questioning a witness who was testifying about the Chinese government using forced labor, and he repeatedly accused her of using hearsay because she had not witnessed it herself. And then later, when asked by a reporter if he was denying that the many, many reports that China uses forced labor, he basically just refused to answer and walked away as fast as he could. So he was essentially doing some work for China on that one. He was trying to argue that China is, or not even argue, he was trying to suggest that China does not use forced labor despite the numerous eyewitness reports and reports by Human Rights Watch that they absolutely do.
Not beacon of integrity, Michael Ma.
I mean, all of a sudden, Carney's like, okay, majority government. He's giving you majority government. You just got to put up with it. He'll say some crazy shit, but he's giving you a majority government. Jesus Christ, this guy's absolutely working for China. Fuck. All right, no points on that one. A Calgary Zoo is going above and beyond to help its new polar bear feel at home after arriving from a zoo in Quebec. How are they catering to the polar bear?
They're trying to speak French to the polar bear so that the polar bear can be rude to them and speak back in English.
Yes.
Wait, what?
They're trying to speak French to the polar bear because
Oh,
it's a
Christ.
francophone polar bear. And I know you meant that as a joke, but as happens once a week on this show, you have joked your way into the right answer. Damn it.
I try so hard not to get these things correct.
Not only are they speaking French to the polar bear, they specifically brought in a French translator for the polar bear, who is from the zoo that he came from in Quebec, and so that they can so that the French zoo caregiver can help the Anglo caregivers speak to the polar bear in his native, I'm joking, language, but in francophone, which he understands. So they're trying to teach the Anglo caregivers how to say arrête for stop, dormez for sleep, and ne mangez pas le bébé qui entre dans la clos for do not eat the baby that got into the enclosure. In other news, I spent more time working on my French for that than the former Air Canada CEO did for his condolence message.
I do want to ask, Megan, Janelle, you guys probably had better answers for that than what mine was. Mine was pretty low effort. Well, by the way, that was very good French, Luke. I didn't
Yeah,
read
that
that.
was
No,
good.
it wasn't, but that's fine. No, it wasn't. I take no compliments.
I just want everyone to get a chance.
I was going to say, every time they've got more than 25 employees in the building, if none of them speak French, they find themselves to make the bear feel more comfortable.
Good.
So you were on the right track. You were
Right,
also in the
I would've
French
gotten there.
language.
I would have gotten there.
I thought I was going to slip the Quebec Zoo by everyone and they wouldn't pick up on that. But no, you're all thinking language. I like it.
I think I got pretty close too. Coca-Cola enema. Because polar bears drink
Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola.
From the ads, yeah.
Yeah.
And they don't know how to get it in the mouth without him eating the bottle, so they have to do the other end. Could you not be so judgmental? What is up with this? You did not take that well. Never mind. I regret saying it. Forget it.
I'm so glad I looped back around for that.
It's not the joke. It's the aggressive fuck you after the joke. It's like you barely finished telling the punchline and then you look at me being like, what are you doing?
I'm still shaken from Canadian Tire energy. I'm still reeling. It's fine. We can move on. It's okay. All right.
Christ.
I'm very delicate. I don't know what to do.
Yeah. Before we got on mic, we were talking about how Janelle's not been on before, and I mentioned, like, if you say something, we can edit it out. And Megan was like, "Oh, why can I not edit stuff out?" I was like, "What deranged thing would you request to be edited out? How do you separate one thing from the others?"
I will never apologize. That was a feint. That was a bit.
All right. So point to Ian, undesired though it may be. Our last question. An English woman seeking paternal support has been told it is not medically possible to determine who the father of her child is, despite the fact that she only slept with 2 men around the time she became pregnant. Why do you think a paternity test was not possible in this case?
I do think I know the answer, so I'll go last. I think I have the right one.
Janelle?
I think I know the answer, but I think the funnier answer is they are the final 3 Habsburgs, and there's just too much inbreeding for it to be possible to untangle this mystery.
I was going to guess the paternity test is impossible because, unfortunately, the DNA results were sent to Dr. Ex-Boyfriend who doesn't want to pay child support. Just like, who's to say we can't figure it out?
A very good guess. I suspect you do know the right answer, but Megan, do you want to go for it?
I want to give Janelle.
Janelle, that's the guess. I should have done
privilege.
that.
The only thing that makes sense is that both fathers are identical twins, but
That is absolutely correct. The fathers are identical twins. Well, the person who is the father is one of 2 identical twins, both of whom she slept with in a 4-day span around the time she became pregnant. The mother, who cannot be named for legal reasons. I'm reading that directly quote from the newspaper. That seems like an extreme thing. I assume they just meant she didn't want her identity out there because maybe she's ashamed of this or whatever.
Because she's trying to lock down some more identical twins.
It's twin law. It's twin law.
it's got a corner.
They did not, you know what, shockingly in this Telegraph article, they did not reveal whether she was just really into twins or not. So I don't know if this is her thing. Yeah.
So twins really into her. Boom!
Hey.
Well, these 2 were.
Bluer than we normally get.
Is it? I don't know.
Bluer than we normally get. Not you, Megan.
All right, fair. Thank you.
The court ruled it is possible, indeed likely, that by the time the child reaches maturity, it may be possible for science to identify one father and exclude the other. But for the coming time, this cannot be done without very significant cost. And so her truth is binary and not a single man. Very eloquent way to put it. We just don't know, babe. You got to deal with it on your own. She's not, and to be clear, the ruling is not neither has to pay child support and she's screwed over. It's it was essentially a case of she is still with one of the brothers and that person wants to be recognized as the father, but the other brother is on the birth certificate. And so they wanted to change it. And in order to do that, they had to prove that the brother she is still with is the father, which they cannot do because of a paternity tests are not able to distinguish identical twins' DNA from each other because they are so very, very close to each other. So yeah.
I did not have it right.
Oh, really? What's your guess?
Baby's a mermaid because I think they have weird DNA. I don't think you can get it human and mermaid. I don't think you can see it under the freaking dang microscope or whatever the heck.
It's unknowable.
It's unknowable.
All right. Well, at the end of our quiz, we have a tie between Ian and Janelle, so I will, of course, give the win to Janel Comeau. Hey. You have won absolutely nothing save for the right of first plug. What would you like the audience to know about?
Oh, shoot. I don't know. What do you mean by plug?
If you wanted to plug a social media account or anything you want them to check out.
Oh, I guess so. If you're not already following me on socials, you can add to the misery I've created in my own life. Being a niche internet micro celebrity is a prison. But you can follow me at Very Bad Llama or at Janel Comeau on Instagram or Threads. I'm on there, I guess.
Yeah, that's I think everyone on Threads. I guess we're still here.
I guess we're still here. I guess I have to use this now.
Yeah. I guess I'll copy and paste a link to Threads, too. It takes 30 seconds, and I'm still annoyed to do it. All right. Megan MacKay?
You know me, I be skeeting, brother. I'm always skeeting up on bluesky.com/MMMEGAN. I say it every week. I'm always skeeting, brother. I will never stop skeeting.
I like that you turned into Hulk Hogan for the plug, though, so I will always throw it to you.
I always will. Always will. Got to channel him from hell? Oh, you pointed out.
No, I'm sorry. I forgot about the stuff in a second. I was just thinking of my childhood, and then I forgot about all the stuff.
Sure, and then the rest of the stuff. Yeah.
I forgot he was Hollywood Hulk Hogan. I forgot about that. The NWO was a bad part. Yeah. Ian, anything you want to tell people about?
I just got a couple of Beaverton articles from our website, www.thebeaverton.com, that made me laugh this week. There's Instagram, YouTube, order to pay $300 million to anyone who's not too distracted by their phones to claim it, by Rob Ito, and Sauces That Pair Nicely with Eating the Rich by Jen Reeves.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much for listening. Follow. I'll throw in one plug, which is subscribe to the Beaverton newsletter, beaverton.com/newsletter. You get the best of the Beaverton, including this very podcast, delivered to your inbox every Sunday, unless it's a long weekend, in which case I don't want to bother you. All right. Have a great week, and thank you for listening. Talk to you then. Bye.
The Beaverton Weekly Report is produced by Andrew Rivamy in partnership with the From Superheroes Network. Visit FromSuperheroes.com to hear more great podcasts like this.